Alright, man, so let's have it. This whole is Pro Tools industry standard conversation or what have you. Let's go on and have it. I've been dying to have this, you know what I'm saying? And before we get the conversation rolling, in the comments, man, I really want to hear y'all viewpoints on this, man. Let's start a whole discussion. And then after you guys watch this video, I'm gonna do a part 2, man, from reading out y'all comments and y'all discussions on this shit, man. So let's get to it. For the record, before we start this whole conversation, I just want to let y'all know I've been rocking on Pro Tools. I say the first time I seen it, I was 9, but I actually got my first copy on when I was 14. I had worked with my pops for the summer. I had cut a lot of yards. But I was able to buy me an inbox. The inbox was $2.99. And they gave you a copy of Pro Tools LE, and it was Pro Tools 8. It was 8 or what have you. So I'm not being biased before we start this conversation. I just had to throw that out there, man, and just let y'all know me and Pro Tools go back like 4 flats. You know what I'm saying? But you guys know, if you watch my cook-ups, I'm a big fan of Reason, and I've been on Logic since Logic 7 or what have you. So, you know, I ain't got a dog in the fight. This is just my viewpoint, and this is just what I know from going to studios and, you know, producing music and being in sessions and dealing with engineers. Like, I'm just giving you my viewpoint and my vantage point as a working individual that does music and does music with other professionals. So let me just lay that out there. Now, let's start the convo. Everybody like debating, arguing and is Pro Tools still the industry standard? So before we even dive into this, I'm gonna give you guys some context about me and Pro Tools relationship. I want to say the first time I seen Pro Tools, I probably was about 9 years old. I want to say that might have been like maybe Pro Tools 6. It was like gray, and like the audio blobs, like whatever blob it was a different color. So like track 1, it'd be like pink. The next one was like red, green. Like it was very, very, very ugly looking, but it was silver. And then, you know, of course, once Pro Tools 8 came, the look changed, because if you guys know your history about like DAWs, you know, Logic had made their change, and they went from like that ugly gray pinkish blob type look to like the new colorful wave. And then once Logic did that, then Pro Tools did the same thing, because I mean they all kind of copy each other. And then, you know, like from the new look, like, you know, like shit was off to the races. Back in the day when you used Pro Tools, you used to have like an inbox or, you know, some type of Pro Tools interface. If you didn't have that, Pro Tools wouldn't come on. It wouldn't work. If you had an M audio joint, you would get the M-powered joint, but then everybody else, you either had like an inbox, a Digio 2, the U command, and, you know, like the bigger the gray and purple, joint. I gotta look that up. I'll look it up in the edit. But, you know, you had to have like a Digidesign audio piece for the program to even, you know, come on and work. And then, you know, you fast forward, music starts becoming like, you know, more consumer friendly, because more people are making music, and then they start letting you be able to use whatever interface that you wanted. But back in the day when it first started, like you had to use their interface, and then they went through that period with like 9 and 10 when you stopped, you could basically, you didn't have to have an iLock, and that's when they got cracked. And then from the time when they got cracked, they said, you know what, we ain't gonna play these games. You can't even own this product no more, and all that good stuff. And here we are today, where we are now. And me personally, my thing is Pro Tools will never, I repeat, never not be the industry standard. The thing with Pro Tools is, if you are doing music like at a like professional level, like any studio you go to, they're gonna have Pro Tools. Like now you have some studios, that have Logic, but like the main DAW is Pro Tools. So if you're going from studio to studio, like if you're working at Patchworks today, and then you're working at Castle Hill tomorrow, or then you're going to Parhelion, like the universal language in the studio is Pro Tools. Like I can't say, oh, my session's on Reason. Like that's not gonna work. The computer might not have Reason, but like the universal program is Pro Tools. And then when it's time to get your record like mixed and master, the engineer is using Pro Tools. Like I think a sticking point and a question is like, yeah, you can use whatever DAW you want to create music in. Like I create music in Reason. Sometimes I create music in Logic. But at the end of the day, I know when it's time for that record to get mixed and mastered, it's going to end up in Pro Tools. Because once again, every engineer like that really does this professionally, they're mixing that record in Pro Tools. Even though you might have made it in Ableton. Or like some days like me, like when I'm just straight analog, like it's still going to get mixed in Pro Tools. Now, I'm not finna sit here and say like other DAWs is not compatible and you can't record or yada 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 yada. Yeah, you can do all that same thing in any DAW, in Logic, in Reason, in Ableton, and Fruity Loops, in Studio One, but at the end of the day, if you're dealing with professional people, it's going to get mixed in Pro Tools. And if you're going from professional studio to professional studio, you're going to be transferring Pro Tools sessions. Like it just is what it is. And you got to look at it like this. Big time studios, like they have $50,000, $100,000 rigs. You know what I'm saying? That they already have this stuff assembled to work with Pro Tools. They're not changing this stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? They're not. And I know a lot of people, big thing is how much Pro Tools costs and not being able to like, fully own Pro Tools, yada, yada, yada. But Pro Tools, you got to look at it like a Rolls Royce. It's like, bro, our clientele is our clientele. We not bending. Like people know the quality. People know who we are, what we is. Like either you want to get it or you don't. You can go on, but we not changing our mindset. Like this is what we doing. We gonna keep pushing it. Every hit record that comes on the radio, we're involved with in some aspect. So like, I mean, you can continue to whine and complain and say how disgruntled you is about it, but they're not gonna change it because they know what they are. They know their value. You know what I'm saying? And then me personally, I've recorded in a couple other DAWs. Like I record, like when I'm tracking, I record my instruments and stuff in Reason, or I have recorded instruments like in Logic. But like, man, comping vocals, I'm gonna just be truthful. Comping vocals and recording vocals and vocal sessions, bro, like Pro Tools is seamless. It's easy, like being able to deal with your playlists and doing like your comping. Like Logic is not that easy to comp in. Reason ain't ready for all that. You know what I'm saying? Like being able to dump your tracks and stuff, that's cool. But like as far as like vocal comping and editing and automation and all that, like Reason ain't ready for it. Logic, they make it a pain in the ass with all the little different tools and stuff like that. But like Pro Tools, man, if you know that grid, you know how to work playlists, you know how to use your tools. The greater than less than sign for like the nudging, like man, it's just easy and it's ready to go. Like, and then too, from a sonic perspective, Logic has more of a thicker weight sound texture wise. As far as like, man, Logic kind of sounds kind of thin. And I know some guys that like recording Logic, mixing Logic and all that good stuff, man, but it just don't give you that vibe that Pro Tools gives, you know what I'm saying? But even outside of that, like forget the vibe, forget like, how I feel about making and creating. It's just a simple fact of every industry studio, You know what I'm saying? Every industry engineer, like, these are the tools that they use. You know what I'm saying? And that's not going to change, because that's the program that if we all are in different studios and we all are working on this album, it's going to be a Pro Tools file, dog. Nobody's not going to say, okay, I'm working, I did my part in Reason. Now I got, no, you're going to bounce them audios out and you're going to send it to Pro Tools. And that's just is what it is, man. Like, if you want to do this on a professional level, like, just be ready to deal with Pro Tools. You know, no matter what you're making your track in, no matter what you're cooking up in, like, you can't run away from Pro Tools. No matter the price, no matter what you feel about it. Like, if you want to be a part of the music society, learn Pro Tools. Like, I ain't telling you what I know. I ain't telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what I know. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what it is, man. So I think, like, and we as a community, man, y'all just gotta embrace it, bro. Like, Pro Tools ain't going nowhere, man. Pro Tools, like, bro, it's not going nowhere. It's not moving. Like, you just gotta deal with the costs. You know what I'm saying? And learn it. And you know what I'm saying? Like, just deal with it. Like, I ain't saying you got to cook up music in it, but like, if you're recording vocals and you're mixing these songs and you're doing editing these songs, you're gonna have to deal with Pro Tools. It's no running away. It's no running away from it. That's just like if you're going to be a lawyer, you gotta take the bar. Like, you can't run away from it. If you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be a part, you gotta take that bar. So it's the same thing with Pro Tools. Like, you can't run away from it. It's here to stay, man. And, you know, that is what it is. If you like the content that you've seen today, please like, comment, and subscribe. And in the comments, man, I want to hear how you guys feel.